What I propose we do, as dessert cheese is offered as well, is we ask a few of you around the table who've got many other examples or anecdotes or facts and figures you might want to share with the table, to ask you all to briefly, in a minute or two, those who feel they have something that should be shared, to say that. I wouldn't call this a Q&A or an official debate. It's more of an information sharing exercise. So I did want to put the spotlight on David to start that off, and then encourage others to raise their hand and add comments. David, can I put you on the spot?
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Yes, I guess I can. I feel a little bit depressed this evening because the UK has had such a fantastic year with the Jubilee and the Royal Wedding and the Olympics, all of which is beckoning people to come to this country. And yet, because this country still has an island mentality, this is the country that took a long time to agree to build a Channel Tunnel because it was worried about rabies coming in from the continent, if you remember that far ago. But there are so many negative things about what we're doing in this country that's stopping people coming to visit. And it ranges from infrastructure, like this debate about whether you do a third runway at Heathrow, I find extraordinarily depressing. I think Terminal 5 at Heathrow took 5 years of inquiries and 5 years more of this and then 5 years to build. We're entering the same thing with the third runway at Heathrow. We now got a 3-year study on it, and then there'll be another 5 years of consultation, and then maybe they'll build it. That's 15 years down the track. But when you add up the fact that VAT is at 20%, which is very high for hotels and restaurants for inbound tourists, you then look at the fact we have a different visa to the Schengen countries, which, to take the Mexican example from my perspective, is clearly absurd. You only have to look at the Chinese inbound tourists to this country, half of which are going to universities, and the other half battle their way through the UK visa system, having got their Schengen visa first and paid more money to come here. So the visa issue is a big one for us. The UK shouldn't have a separate visa system. They should take the Schengen visa, because if you get a Schengen visa, you have battled very hard to get it. You've had interviews, you've been fingerprinted, you've had produced lots of documentation to actually get that far. So when you add all those things together, and you look specifically at APD, which through our research is 2.8 or 2.9 billion pounds coming into the exchequer, and it's 4.2 billion pounds of GDP going out of the back end of the country. But the response that we've had from Mr. Osborne so far is, I understand what you're saying, I have no sympathy because of the problems I'm dealing with here. And if you'd like me to move 2.8 billion onto cigarettes or booze business, then that's fine, because it balances my books. But until you give me another industry to tax, I'm just not interested in having a conversation. So with all these things, I'm a little bit depressed about it. I think as far as the UK is concerned, we, the travel industry, have got to do a better job of making our case with the government, because when I go around the world and look at different countries and how they face off to the government, the UK is probably the worst at doing this. The airlines, the tour operators, the hotel associations, the different aspects of industry associations, they are not coordinated, so the government doesn't get a clear message on the top 3 or 4 things that are really important to this industry. So we have ourselves to blame in some respects from an industry point of view. So if we can get our act together a bit better to put the points of view across to the government and things that are really important, then I think we'll start to make some progress. But I think if we follow some of the things that Dori Guevara's been talking about, visas and infrastructure issues, we can do some things in this country, but it's going to require a lot of coordination from within the industry to actually make the case with George Osborne and the Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, David.